Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Show Must Go On. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is Susan Laubach. Let's get this show started. And so my first question for you, as far as you being an actor, is when did you first discover your acting talent?
Oh, that goes back to when I was 10. And I was always, you ask any actor, they were always in all the little school productions, Girl Scout productions, high school, college. I was always acting, and even did it professionally until very, very recently. But I've decided that I don't want to learn lines anymore, Casey. I don't want to learn lines. So I've been playwriting for quite a while. I even turned my book into a script for kids doing it as a play. Awesome. So that's really my theater work now, is that I'm a playwright.
Cool. Well, in the beginning, were you encouraged by your parents to do theater? Because I grew up, I would say in the 90s and the 2000s. I didn't know many. I did know a handful of people who unfortunately couldn't do theater because their parents didn't allow it. And so were you encouraged?
No, I'm like those kids we grew up with. No, my father was a businessman, and he didn't send me off to college so I could go on the stage, for God's sake. No, they didn't encourage me in any way. Fortunately, I did have a teacher. I had teachers who were encouraging, and I found encouragement in other places, but it did tend to make my parents unhappy about my choice back when I was a kid.
Well, we've started out earlier when you mentioned at 8 years old, you wrote an article, so it would make sense that writing would be something you're interested in. And I saw your website. You have a very long list of plays you've written. What was the first play you wrote? And you've already said, because you didn't feel like memorizing your lines, you became a playwright. What was that the reason why, or was there a story you felt you needed to tell that caused you to write that play?
Well, I started writing plays professionally for a professional theater in Baltimore, where I was the playwright in residence. And we toured the plays that I wrote to 135 public schools in Baltimore, as well as to other places outside the city. And those first plays were shortish because we went into schools, so they were 30 to 45 minutes long. I can't, I don't think it makes any difference what their titles were, but they had to do with stories that connected with the schools, to the best of my ability, the school's curriculum, so that the teachers would want to bring their kids to the plays that we were taking to their school. So that's what I did. Yes, I always, and so did the theater I worked for, we always wanted our plays to be, if not educational, at least education enhancing. Something that just wasn't a throwaway, that had a lesson, something that kids could take home and think about. And that's what I continue to try to do in plays.
That's great. So what have you, in your time in theater, what is something you learned that no one told you that you wish someone would have showed you?
That I would ever get tired of learning lines. I guess, that's certainly one thing I thought, now I can do this forever, but you just stop wanting to. And what else? It's hard. It's hard to tour a show. When you're touring, and I have great admiration for these road companies, when you're touring, it's a whole different and difficult life. So that's another thing that I learned, because some of, aside from touring in the schools, I toured while in college as well. That's touring isn't glamorous at all. Maybe I should say this to aspiring actors. theater isn't particularly glamorous either. But if you are committed, and you have to do it. I had an editor once who said she's convinced that writers have to write. And I agree with that. And also with people who feel the compulsion to act under any circumstances, and they keep on trying and keep on trying. It's a compulsion, and you have to do it.
So I'm going to ask you two more questions, and I'm going to let you go. So not only in the arts and acting, even sometimes being a broker or learning investment, sometimes parents are just not as encouraging when their children say, hey, this is what I want to do with my life. What would you tell that parent who's discouraging their child from doing what they believe they're supposed to be doing?
Well, in the first place, I've got 5 children, and I don't think you should discourage them from anything that they're interested in, anything that they want to do. Stay out of it. If you don't know anything about it, then learn with them. As long as what they want to do isn't to be a drug dealer or rob banks, just, stand aside and be in awe of this wonderful kid who's decided that he wants to go in a completely different direction than I wanted to go. Isn't that great? So that would certainly be my advice. You just don't discourage, and you don't say, I've always wanted Joe to be a broker. I've always wanted Joe to be a doctor. I've always wanted Joe to be a lawyer. Don't do that.
I like what you said. If you don't know, learn with them.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That should be fun.
All right. So my last question for you. If you ever had the chance to work with anyone in the theater business, acting business, whether they be dead or alive, well-known or unknown, who would this person be and why?
Lin-Manuel Miranda. I also would offer up Stephen Schwartz. Both of them, I know, because they're on a board on which I serve, I know that they are very encouraging to young talent, emerging talent, and they're very smart. They know how to encourage in the right direction. They know they're not, a lot of geniuses don't know how to teach. These 2 guys do. And I would just find that to be a remarkable experience if I had the chance.
Well, that is all the time we have for you today on this episode of The Show Must Go On. I would like to thank our guest, Susan Laubach, for coming on by and sharing with us. And I want to thank you, the audience, for watching. Thank you, and have a great day.
Let's welcome Susan to the stage, our next storyteller.
Okay. Well, I am here to tell you that automation isn't always such a great thing, especially not in public bathrooms. Have you ever put your coat over the sink and had water come flowing over it? Yeah? And then you go to dry your hands and the hand dryer doesn't dry? No. And toilets that flush themselves, they really just still startle me. Yeah. I mean, can't you do these things manually, people? My story starts in January 1993. I'm living with a family outside of Marseille, France. I've been placed there by the French American Center in order for me to learn French and from them, and for them to learn English from me. My hosts are both professors at the University of Marseille, and every day they drive me into town, and from the university I take a bus to the old city where I hang around for the next 8 hours. Now, it's a very colorful place, and the fish market is on in the morning with a lot of customers, a lot of tourists, and well, a more resourceful person might have spent their time more wisely, but I just wandered in and out of the shops, and I made these pathetic attempts to speak French, but I was really too shy to say more than bonjour. or qu'est-ce que c'est la coûte, which means how much does it cost, and où est la toilette? Because finding public bathrooms was really a problem. I mean, there weren't any. Well, except for what I realized was a very large porta potty on the waterfront, right in front of the fish market, amongst the tourists and the customers. And it's a large white metal egg-shaped building, and there was a long line of people in front of it, and I noted that they were putting their coins in the handle, and it opened automatically. People would walk in and closed automatically. A minute later, open automatic, people walk out, and I think, I can do that. I can do that. So I take my place in line. Woman takes her place behind me. I turn and smile, my jolly American smile. She doesn't respond. So we stand there in silence until I get up to the front and I put my coin in under the handle, and the door magically opens. I walk inside, the door magically closes. It's large and very white and clean, and the toilet sits like a throne on this side and the sink on this side, and I take the paper from the wall and put it on the toilet seat. I unhook my jeans, they flop to my feet. I turn and my heel catches in my jeans, and I fall forward, and I accidentally hit the handle, and then I fall back on the seat, and oh my God, the door is opening magically, and there are all these people, and they're looking at me, and oh my God, I stand up and I pull the door closed. Oh my God, it was like those people who lift cars off small children. I finally get the damn thing closed, and I hear this great crack. Oh my God, I flipped the handle. Oh my God, I'm caught in this white egg-shaped thing. And what am I? I pull my jeans up and I hook them and I beat on the door. Beat. And then I hear, I hear coins dropping in the handle. And it magically opens. Oh, my savior was the cheerless woman who had been standing behind me. And all I can think of to say to her is, gracias, senora. And I hurry off to find a regular bathroom in a restaurant. Thank you.